So, in today's lecture, let us discuss the topic that is known as recognition. Now, as far as recognition is concerned, there may be recognition of state and recognition of government. Now, why recognition becomes necessary, or what is the importance of recognition? The importance of recognition or the need of recognition, it arises because the number of states in the world, they keep on changing. Sometimes the state disappears and a new state comes into existence. And when the new state comes into existence, there is a need to grant recognition to the state from the world community. And therefore, the recognition of state is very important. Now, sometimes there is a change in the government, and change in the government is also an important event wherein the need of recognition may arise, and therefore recognition is an important topic in international law. Now, firstly, let us know what is meant by recognition of state, and firstly, let's see what is meant by recognition. Now, as far as the recognition of the state is concerned, a recognition of the state, it means that it is a kind of acknowledgement that a new entity which fulfills the essential requirements of statehood has come into existence. So the other states, known as the recognizing states, they acknowledge the fact that a new entity has come into existence and it fulfills all the essential requirements of becoming a state. Now, these essential requirements of state, they were enumerated in the Montevideo Convention. And that Montevideo Convention, it says that the entity can be called as a state if it is having permanent population, it is having well-defined territory, it is having control of government and the capacity to perform international obligations. So if these four essential attributes are present, then that entity can be called as a state. So the other states, they acknowledge the fact that a new entity has come into existence and it fulfills all the essential requirements of a state, namely the permanent population, then second is well-defined territory, third is the control of government, and the fourth one is capacity to enter into international obligations. So this particular fact is acknowledged by way of granting the recognition. So that is the meaning of the word recognition. Now let us come to the types of recognition in international law. Now in international law, recognition of a state may be of number of types. It is classified as de jure and de facto recognition. Then it is also classified as express and implied recognition. Then there may be collective recognition, and there may also be what is called as conditional recognition. So different kinds or various types of recognition are there. Now, so far as the de facto recognition is concerned, it is recognition in fact, and it is a kind of provisional or temporary recognition, because the states which are granting the recognition to the new state, they have got certain doubt about the stability of the new state, and therefore initially they grant only provisional or temporary recognition, and that temporary or provisional recognition, it is known as the de facto recognition, because certain doubts are there in the mind of the recognizing state that the recognized state may not last longer and it may not be a stable state, and that's why initially they will begin with only provisional recognition or de facto recognition. And de facto recognition, it can be withdrawn also. Now then there can be de jure recognition. It means recognition in law. Now this is a permanent kind of recognition and it is irrevocable kind of recognition. Now de jure recognition, it means when there is a reasonable assurance of stability in the minds of the other states about the new state, then they will proceed with granting the de jure recognition. That is, the recognizing states, they have assurance that the new state is strong enough to protect itself, and that's why they will grant the permanent type of recognition, and that recognition is known as the de jure recognition. Now sometimes the de facto recognition which is initially granted, later on or subsequently it is converted into the de jure recognition after some period. So usual practice remains the same, that initially grant the de facto recognition to the new state, and if it is reasonably stable, then convert it into de jure recognition. So these are the first two types of recognition. Now then, sometimes the recognition may be an express recognition. It means the recognizing state, it issues a notification in writing, or it communicates in writing that it is acknowledging the fact that a new state has come into existence. And when the recognition is granted by way of some kind of writing, then that is known as an express recognition. Now, as opposed to express recognition, there can be what is called as an implied recognition. It means the recognition is not granted in written form, but from the conduct of the recognizing state, we may infer or we may assume that the recognition has been granted by implication. Now, to take the example, suppose a new state has come into existence and the other states establish diplomatic relations with that new state, or they enter into international treaty with the new state. Then the fact that they have entered into diplomatic relations or they have entered into international treaty, it speaks for itself, and it implies that they have granted recognition to the new state. So it is known as an implied type of recognition. So sometimes there can be express recognition, as it was granted to number of newly independent Russian states by Indian government in 1991. So it can be in writing and it is called as express. But if you can imply it from the conduct of the state or the behavior of the state, then that is known as an implied type of recognition. Now, another type of recognition can be collective recognition. It means certain group of countries come together, and instead of granting recognition separately, they grant the recognition as an organization or as a group, and that is known as collective recognition. So, for instance, if a new state has been granted recognition by European Union, or a new state has been granted recognition by another international organization of South Asian countries known as SAARC. So when the recognition is granted by a group of countries like EU, that is European Union, or the SAARC countries to a newly emerged state, then you can call it as collective type of recognition. And the last type can be the conditional recognition. It means the recognition is granted subject to fulfillment of certain terms and conditions. And if those terms and conditions are fulfilled, then only the recognition is granted. For example, a condition may be imposed that the newly emerged state, it has to protect the human rights of its citizens for a period of 2 years. So after it shows that it is capable to protect the human rights of its citizens, then after 2 years the recognition will be granted subject to certain conditions. So such conditions can be imposed that you establish that you can protect strongly the human rights of your own citizens. Then we will grant the recognition. So when recognition is granted in such manner, it is called as a conditional type of recognition. So these are the various kinds or various types of recognition. Now then, let us come to the question whether granting of recognition is a legal duty or not. Now it is a debatable issue because a jurist, Hersch Lauterpacht, in whose name the international institution is also there, Hersch Lauterpacht has said that there is a duty upon the other states to grant recognition to the new state if it fulfills the criteria of state. So whenever the new state comes into existence and it fulfills the requirements of statehood, that is, it has got permanent population, it has got well-defined territory, then it has got certain control of government, and it has also got the capacity to perform international obligations, then there is a legal duty upon the other countries that they shall grant recognition to such new state. So according to Hersch Lauterpacht, there is a legal duty to grant the recognition to the newly emerged state. But number of scholars differ from Lauterpacht, and they say that the act of recognition is merely a political act, and there is no legal duty as such which can be imposed upon the other states. So recognition granting is purely a political act, and each and every nation will decide the question of recognition depending upon its political interests. So it is purely a question of politics and not a question of law. So many jurists, they agree that recognition is not a legal duty as such, but it is merely a political act. So this is about the question, that is the question involved in case of the legal duty pertaining to recognition. Now let us come to two prominent theories which are advocated on the topic of recognition. The first theory is known as constitutive theory, and this theory was given by the jurists such as Oppenheim, Holland and Ancelotti. So Oppenheim, Holland and Ancelotti have given the theory of recognition known as the constitutive theory. Now it is self-explanatory. Now this theory believes that it is the act of recognition alone which constitutes a state. So in absence of recognition, there can be no state. So it has kept the act of recognition at very higher pedestal, and it has made recognition as an indispensable act, because the theory believes that without recognition, state cannot come into existence. But this theory is widely criticized because the constitutive theory gives more importance to the act of recognition than actually it is having. And that's why this theory is premised on the faulty logic that in absence of recognition, the state cannot come into existence. And that's why this theory has been widely criticized. Now then there is one more theory known as the declaratory theory, or sometimes it is also known as the evidentiary or the confirmatory theory. Now the proponents of this theory, they include Hall, Wagner, Pitt Cobbett and Brearley. So all these four jurists, namely Hall, Wagner, Pitt Cobbett and Brearley, they have supported this particular declaratory or evidentiary or confirmatory theory. Now this theory has downplayed rightly the importance of recognition. Now the proponents of this theory believe that first the state comes into existence by fulfilling the four requirements of statehood, namely permanent population, well-defined territory, control of government and capacity to perform international obligations. So with these four essential attributes, first the state comes into existence, and subsequently this fact is merely declared, or it is evidenced, or it is confirmed by the recognizing states. And that's why this theory is known as a declaratory theory, or sometimes it is called as an evidentiary theory, or it is also called as a confirmatory theory. So here the jurists have downplayed, or they have said that recognition is not that important, and in absence of recognition also the state can come into existence. Rather, state has to come into existence first, and subsequently there will be recognition. So recognition is not at all necessary for the state to come into existence. And this theory has been widely accepted because it is based upon the logical premises. And that logical premises is that first let the state come into existence, and subsequently it can be granted recognition. So this theory is known as the declaratory, evidentiary or confirmatory theory. Now then let us come to the distinction between de facto and de jure recognition. Now as said earlier, de jure recognition is recognition in law, and it is a permanent type of recognition. It is irrevocable in nature. But on the other hand, as far as the de facto recognition is concerned, it is temporary or provisional recognition, because there are certain doubts about the stability of the new state. So this kind of recognition is purely provisional or temporary, and it is not permanent. Secondly, this recognition is revocable. That is, the recognizing state has a liberty to take away that recognition. So it is not of permanent nature, and that's why it is called as a de facto or only provisional or temporary type of recognition. Now, although these points of distinction are there between de jure and de facto recognition, actual practice, however, shows that there is no much distinction between these two types of recognition. And whatever rights are available under international law to a state which is recognized in de facto and de jure manner, there is no difference at all. and even on the basis of de facto recognition, the new state can enjoy similar rights. So it is only academic point of view distinction, but from practical point of view, both the types of recognition are one and same, namely de facto and de jure. Now this fact was also mentioned in one of the important cases on the topic of recognition, that is A.M. Luther versus Sagor and Company. This case was decided in 1921 in England. Now, brief facts of the case were that in Russia, the Lenin government came in power in the year 1918, and very soon it promulgated the decree of nationalization of the sawmills in Russia. So whatever sawmills were there as private property, they were acquired under the nationalization scheme by the Russian government, and now they became the property of the Russian government. Now, one such person was there, and his sawmill was acquired by the Russian government under the scheme of nationalization. And later on, the Russian government decided to sell that sawmill to a British citizen. Now, when that sale was to be made, the objection was taken by the Russian citizen that how comes his sawmill, which has been nationalized under the nationalization scheme, will be sold outright to a British national on the basis of de facto recognition given to Russia by Great Britain. Because at that time, Russia was granted only de facto recognition by Great Britain. And the contention in this case was that since the recognition is only temporary, or it is de facto recognition, on the basis of de facto recognition, you cannot enter into a contract with a foreign national, and you cannot sell away the sawmill to that foreign national, because your state is having only de facto recognition and not de jure. Now, when this question came up before the English court, it was decided that there is no difference at all between de facto and de jure recognition, and from practice point of view, or from practical point of view, both are one and same. And this particular distinction is only academic, but it is not applicable in actual practice. So the actual practice treats de facto and de jure recognition as having on same footage. So there is no much distinction between the two in actual practice. So we can say that the distinction between de facto and de jure recognition, it is only for academic purpose, but not for practical point of view. So this is about the recognition of the state. Now, apart from that, there can be recognition of the government also, because sometimes the government changes in the state, and if it has come in power by illegal means or by revolutionary means, then the question of granting the recognition will arise, whether to recognize such government or not to recognize such government. And that's why recognition of government is also an important topic. With that, we come to the end of recognition of state and recognition of government. Now, apart from that, there are three important doctrines on the topic of recognition. That is the doctrine known as Estrada doctrine, given by the Foreign Minister of Mexico, Mr. Estrada. Then there is a doctrine known as Stimson doctrine, given by the US Foreign Secretary, Mr. Stimson. And apart from the Estrada and Stimson doctrine, there is one more doctrine given by Mr. Tober of Ecuador and named after him as the Tober doctrine. Now, this doctrine suggests, one doctrine suggests that if the government has come in power in military manner or by revolutionary means, then the other states shall not establish diplomatic relations with that state, or they shall not grant recognition. And the other doctrine is exactly opposite. It says that whether the government has come in power with revolutionary means or not, that is none of our business. We should continue with the diplomatic relations. So these doctrines have also been given. So recognition is a very important topic in international law, and it occupies an important place in the international law. Recognition of state can be there sometimes, and sometimes there can be recognition of the government. A number of types of recognition which we have discussed are also there. So with that, let us conclude with today's session on the topic known as recognition of state under recognition of government.